Welcome to Degrees of Separation, a podcast where we journey to learn how we are connected and who we are connected to.
It gives us at least a glimpse of how connected we all are.
From entrepreneurs and small business owners to difference makers and thought leaders throughout our communities. This is Degrees of Separation with Joshua Peacock and Daryl DJ Sales.
What it is, man. We back in this building one more time, man. It's your host, Joshua Peacock.
And Daryl DJ Sales.
We have a very, very special guest with us today, man. I've been talking to DJ for a long time about this gentleman, man. He's blessed me with so much knowledge and information, and we thank him beforehand for joining us today. None other than Thomas Reyes. How's it going, man? He's peace out. All right, man. So Thomas Reyes, man, here at Degrees of Separation, we like to open up with how we are connected, how we got connected. And how we got connected is one day, well, not just one day, but for a while I was considering taking a gun course or getting my concealed weapons license. And I was searching, scouring through how I could find a good class for a reasonable price. And I was talking to my younger brother who already went through the process, and he was telling me pricing and places to go. He's actually up in Tallahassee. So, I started searching, and I found, with a quick Google search, I found Mr. Reyes' class. And one day I walked in, one Saturday, as a matter of fact, it was on a weekday. He had where you can prepay for your seat, and I went on to Google and I prepaid for my seat. And one Saturday I came in and had one of the best classes I've had, that I can think of, and that's how we got connected. And then maybe about 10 months later or so, I walked back in his, office in this place of business, and I said, "Hey, I took your class, and I'd like to promote you and have you come talk on my podcast." And we're here now. So, yes, sir. So, Tom, tell us, what is the name of your business?
It's Pro Firearms Academy and Gunsmith. We're located in Ocala, Florida, on 200. We're about a mile and a half east of 75. It's a little shopping plaza. The school itself, it's relatively small. We're a full range gun shop. Everything that has to do with firearms we do, but we focus on the education part because I found that a lot of people want to have a firearm and they know nothing of it. And then I noticed that there are people that have a license and they need a refresher, or they just need to, get an in-state license. And some of the things they were doing was just really scaring me, So with that being said, I made it a mission that we teach the class 4 times a week. You can take one class. But we always encourage the students to come back as many times as they like, because I really want to get them to the point where, I say, "Hey, Josh, I can't work today. Do you mind teaching the class?" And you would say, "Yeah, I know the material. I understand what is required for me as a gun owner to possess a firearm." And that's not going to happen in just one go around. I mean, it's just way too much information. You take some notes, watch videos. I've got some websites, YouTube channels. I got a lot of resources, but even that is not always enough. Repetition is the name of the game. So that's why I let them come back as many times as they want. I call them repeat offenders.
So with them being able to come back, is there any charge with them coming back?
No, No, it's absolutely free. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
That's how serious we take it.
As
I,
many times
I
they want.
as many times as they want. Absolutely. I don't know if when I proposed this to the city of Ocala, they were excited because they said we have a lot of gun shops, we have no schools or academies, and that's what we're about. It's one, we got to get you the right firearm for you, and most places will say it. And once you walk out the door, you can't find come back. At that point, you can't turn it back. So that's why you got to get educated before you make a $500 mistake. You know,
Yeah.
then after that, it's a serious, major responsibility. You know, we offer so many resources after the class because you're required to know the law, you're required to know your firearm, and you're required to make sure no one gets a hold of it.
Hmm.
Yes.
You can't get around that. You just can't.
So with
So
go ahead, Bishop.
okay, no, I was just gonna say, so you guys are pretty, you guys are more, I guess, safety centric or more toward the leaning toward the literature.
Yes, the education aspects of it all. Yes,
Yes.
definitely. But like I say, we are a full range gun shop. Once we figure out the best one for the student,
Uh huh.
stack, single stack, compact, subcompact, then a lot of times we let them buy from the vendor, or we will go online and see who has this firearm they decided they wanted that has a 1 hour flash sale, $100 off. Let's find that guy. Let's make the purchase, send it to the shop, and let's continue the education. This way, you know how to maintain it, you know how to clean it, you know how to
Hmm.
sight it in, you know the 4 stages of the trigger,
Yep.
stance, you know, uh, grip. It's a science. It's not just like everyone else is doing. I've called around and they say, oh, we only have the class one day, and it's next Wednesday. If not, you'll have to come back next month. And once you're done, you're done. They're like, okay, good luck. We'll see you. And that's just it's mind-boggling, or it's kind of nerve-wracking. Like I said, like I say, I have people come in. They're like, oh, I just got to do this because I'm from out of state. Halfway through the class, I'm like, you're making me nervous. I thought you said you had a license. They're like, yeah, what's wrong? I said, you're making me nervous. You're violating the 3 rules. Safe direction. You keep your finger off the trigger, and when it's empty, lay it down. And then, when we're done, lay it down in an empty fashion. It's a very simple principle, you know. And someone that's had a license for 20 years, I mean, it should be a no-brainer. It's muscle memory by that point,
Thanks.
you know. And you know, the range I use, it's a great range. RD Tactical Solutions. It's nice. It's clean, indoor. You know, someone pointed in an unsafe direction, and they shot the plexiglass next to the guy next to him. And that
I've seen that. I've seen that marking there.
yeah, and it's why is that happening? It's because no one is instilling these things, and the only way it's going to happen is if I repeat it over and over and over, you know. And when you go home with stuff that's going to, instill further. It's simple things that make a difference. It really does.
Hmm.
So Tom, what's your background?
I was a fireman for 30 years in 1 month. Uh, I've seen a lot of crazy stuff. I was a flight medic for a while, and I've been shooting since I was 10. I've been an instructor for I don't even know how long, all different classes. And I knew that, um, you know, a lot of times people took the class because they had to, not because they wanted to. So I need to make sure that, they're getting their money's worth. I want them to know that, some of the stuff's really important and some of it is going to go in one ear and out the other. let's talk about the important stuff. Let's reiterate it. Let's try to muscle memory it. And coming back helps doing that. And then you going home with, what's, uh, resources will help do that. You know, so after I retired, I'm like, I still enjoy teaching. I still enjoy firearms, and I took this class. I'm like, are you kidding me? You're doing this little bit, and you're letting people, carry firearms and stuff. I'm like, no, that is not okay. So I decided if I'm gonna if I'm gonna do this, it's gonna be to the point where I think it needs to be. And that's the freedom that the NRA gives me. And it's way beyond what they want.
Right. So what would differentiate you from another class if someone was shopping around and looking at different classes? What would, besides the come back for free as many times as possible? What differentiates you from another person?
My class is Pistol One. That class is 3 days long, 8 hours each day.
Wow.
Right? I'm teaching everyone everything that's in that class in a short period of time. No one's doing that. No one is going nowhere near that. Everyone that has taken a class somewhere else has mentioned, this is incredible. This is way too much material. I'm going to come back. I'm going to go over the notes. I'm going to watch the videos, and so I could understand it. Because Pistol One is Pistol One because it's the first. It's the outline. It's the beginning of it all. This is a gun. This is ammo. These are the parts. This is how they go together. This is how it works. This is what happens when you pull the trigger. This is what you do when you're. I mean, there's so much, and you know, their classes. There are some that'll do 30 minutes at a gun show, and shoot a piece of wax. I did some research, and there was a company out there that does. Uh, I forget what it's like, a rubber type or plastic round, and you have to get certified to do that. A lot of it's mainly for law enforcement. It teaches them how to um, deal with hostage situations and hostile situations. And some instructors are taking that and using that in the gun portion, which is that's crazy. You got to shoot a firearm.
Yeah.
That's,
Right.
that is not a. I mean, how are you going to teach me how to do this and then we're not going to shoot it? That's absurd. You know? Yeah,
They got to get used to the real deal, man. The recoil of a
absolutely,
45 is different from the recoil of a 9, and
absolutely. And the
yes,
sound.
you're right.
We walk in and half of them the first time around goes off. They're like, they're got to peel them off the ceiling. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and, but that's a part of the entire program. You know, that's essential. I mean, it really is. If they don't go through that, what's going to happen when something hits the fan?
Right.
Statistically speaking, the FBI says things happen in three. You got 3 seconds to put off 3 rounds within 3 yards.
Right.
There's no thinking, there's no aiming, there's no, hey, hold on a second, I'm going to grab my gun and I'm going to put it together and I'm going to, that's, it's all muscle memory. Like getting in the car and the right foot goes to the gas pedal. You ever look at it?
No.
No, it's there. It's there. You know how much to step on it. You know how much to let go. You know.
Right.
So,
So with you starting the course, you were teaching while you were fighter.
yeah, yeah. My
Okay.
last year and a half, I started transitioning to the gun field in the education part, and I was fortunate enough that I have enough time off that I can take some time off and get the business going. Uh, I remember March of 19 when we opened up the second shop, the new shop. And I would pick up the phone and see, is this thing working? Why is somebody calling? You know, but 3, 4 months into it, people were knocking at the door. We were filling up the class, and then COVID hit, and then it went through the roof. I'm like, what's going on here? I started watching the news. Then I said, okay, well, I don't. I'm not one of those that price gouge. Like I say, I help the
Right.
student find the one for them, and let's find the price. you know. So what I did have, because I wasn't price gouging, I sold pretty quickly, which is fine, but there was a lot on the market available on internet. So I decided, why try to price gouge? If
Right.
you got to wait 3 days anyway, why don't we find something, buy it, ship it here? By the time it all clears up, 3 days will go by anyway. Then you can take it home. you
Right.
know, and and we started teaching more classes. Um, we hired a gentleman. He does the gunsmithing for us, and he's also a Gracie brown belt jujitsu.
Wow.
Yeah, if you know anything about martial
The
arts,
Gracie. Yeah.
yeah, that's
The
the
Gracie
past.
boys and the Gracie. Yeah, that's the best jiu-jitsu in the world. Yeah.
Yeah, you do not get any better. So in our website, we have under the classes that we have a lot of, not just firearms training, weapons retention, self-defense. It's an education center. You
Right.
know,
Right.
you know, you can buy a firearm anywhere. If you know what you want, the place to buy it is online because that
Yeah.
is going to be the cheapest place. Then you want it shipped to the least expensive place. You just save $50. Now you're gonna pay this guy to do the paperwork, and that's crazy. Just go to the store and buy it at that point.
Right.
So we try to help the student in that aspect as well. The transfers are minimal. We're probably the cheapest in town. But
Right.
you need to raise your price. They're like, why? Why? There's no need to. The gun shop supports the education. You know,
Right.
that's why we can, like someplace, we'll say a dishwasher and for free, but you're gonna want parts for it.
Right.
That's
Right. Right.
it's kind of like that.
I didn't know that about with the purchasing of the firearm that can come to you and get. So I've been looking to buy another firearm. So I know I can come to
Yeah,
you, go online and get it
yeah,
all. Because I know with certain, like you said, with certain businesses, man, they got because it can't get shipped anywhere. It has to get shipped to a licensed deal.
yeah.
Would you explain that to us?
Yes. So you are allowed to purchase a firearm as long as you're over 21 online. Use your credit card to have your name on it or your billing address, and they will ask you, where do you want to ship? Because you cannot ship to the house or the post office. You will have to ship to a gun dealer, a federal firearm license dealer. So you're going to want to send one close to you, but at the same time, the closest is not always the cheapest. It's called a transfer fee. You will pay a background check. It's typically between $5 and $8, and the processing of bringing in the firearm, doing the paperwork, and going online and doing the background check, and just make sure everything clears. It's a responsibility on the shop, on the dealer, the FFL dealer. So, some use that as an income. You know, that's why they charge like they do. Between selling stuff and doing that, they generate revenue. Well, so they're going to do as much as they can, right? Which is they'll sell to anybody. you know.
Right.
So we don't do that. We're on the education part. We want to educate you so when you buy something, you feel comfortable. You go to a gun store and you're looking around and you notice the one you've been looking for. Oh, there it is. It's on sale, $100 off. Are you kidding me? And you start messing with things. you start looking at it and you start doing things unsafe, that shop might not sell you the gun.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that
they
makes
will
sense.
do that. Absolutely. If you make me nervous, I'm not going to sell you a firearm.
Right.
Absolutely. But if you show me what you're doing and if it's a good price, absolutely, let's do the deal. Let's do the transaction.
Right.
And it's only going to happen by taking a gun safety class. Then you apply for your concealed weapon class. I mean, your concealed weapon license. It's not a permit. A permit is for an item, like a gun. A license is for a weapon. You can carry brass knuckles. You can carry almost anything that is a weapon. That's why it's called a concealed weapon license.
Oh,
And
that's
oh,
education for me. I didn't know that. I thought it was just for the gun.
no, it's not a permit. You can carry anything that is under the statute. Yeah, absolutely. And conceal it. Yeah.
Because I remember when I was in your class, you had tasers and
Yeah.
other things. I saw a few of those things that
Yeah.
you said as well.
Not all of it needs to be, life altering type devices. We have less invasive things that, will do the job. You know, Bad guys don't like hiccups. They want to get in and get out. You scream loud enough, they're done. You know, they hear a zap from a taser, they're done. You know, you know, we have some pepper spray. It's real small, condensed. It has a little clip on it. The stuff is like gasoline to the face. This stuff's nasty. It's $15. It's called Palm. We found that company a couple years ago. The stuff is awesome. You get 12 seconds of straight stream. 12 seconds. Remember, FBI statistically speaking, what do they say? 3 shots, 3 yards, 3 seconds.
2 seconds.
12. You've got 12 seconds of spraying this in somebody's face.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's $15.
Yeah,
I guarantee they'd rather get hit with the taser than
Yeah,
that spray.
yeah. It comes in some cool colors. Why? Because you're looking in the glove box and everything is dark, right? But if you look for that one thing that's bright and shiny, you're like, oh, there it is. So you can pull it out and use it as you need to. So, yeah,
wow. That's the education for me. Like I said, I
yeah,
didn't know that it varies from different things. So if a cop pulled me over and I have brass knuckles on me and I show him my license, then it's okay.
yes, yes, yeah. Now,
That's
when it comes to being pulled over, uh, the best thing to do is, you know, throw your license out there. As soon as I get pulled over, I've got everything in my hand: registration, insurance, license, concealed weapon license. They ask for that stuff. They say, here you go. You have a firearm? Yes, it's on me. Okay. All right. Just home tight. I'm going to make sure everything's good to go and I'll be right back. And it puts it in an even playing field. They want to know this so they know what they're dealing with. And, I worked a lot of deputies back in the day, and it's the scariest thing for them to do is pull somebody over. So if it's not a big deal, it's kind of like, here's your thing. Do me a favor, get the tail light fixed, have a nice day, you know, and, go on.
right.
But, when you surprise them, it's nerve wracking on their end because, like I said, it's the scariest thing for them to do. That's why when they walk up, first thing they do is touch your car. Why? They're going to fingerprint your car. This way, if something happens, they know that if he's made contact with you.
Yes, sir.
Oh, some game.
See,
Okay.
yeah, he's full of education, man. Full of education. That's why I fell in love with his teaching. Immediately, as soon as I, started to get into his class, he involves everyone, and ask questions, and what I mean, it's very inviting, and it's not judgmental in his teaching. You get some people because they have all this wealth of knowledge, and another person's coming in as a novice, they're judgmental towards that person as a novice. It made me feel very welcome, and I saw other people who wasn't, and they might have asked what somebody think is a foolish question. You didn't wasn't condescending with them. You were very patient and answered all the questions. And I really love that about the class.
Yeah, I really, early in my career, I remember taking classes and, on the verge of being belittled. And, one day I just stopped and I had to remind the guy. And I says, "This is a class, right?" He says, "Yeah, why?" "So you're here to teach me?" And he says, "Yeah." I said, "Because I need to be taught." And he gave me this look like, "This is why I'm here. This is why I paid for this. I need you to teach me, because I don't know. If I already knew, would I be here? No,
Right.
you know. So, I had we were at the range one day, and you got to do some shooting. That is required, and we're she was getting ready to shoot, and she put the firearm down, and she turned around and she looked at me and she says, "I've never met anyone as patient as you are." And I said,
Right.
"Oh, okay, thanks. Okay, can we go shooting now? Because we gotta go. We gotta go because the bench more." You know, but I try to be. I really do because, like I said, I've been on the other side of the fence and it sucked. That's why I teach like I do. That's why I take the time I do, and I live to come back. It's a part of it. you know.
Another thing I enjoyed as well was, man, I came in and I bought some cleaner from you. I don't know if you probably see people all that. You probably don't even remember it, but I came. I know you do this probably often. Came in, bought some cleaner. He took me back behind the counter into the classroom setting. We set my gun down. He broke my gun down for me, cleaned it for me, and taught me how to clean my gun. Right. He did. It wasn't just a purchase. It was an experience.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's another thing.
yeah. Whenever there's not a lot going on. There are times where there's not, um, and you know, I know that you can make a difference when you don't have a lot going on. And I've gone to other shops and they're just sitting there and I ask a question or ask something and it's like like I'm bothering them, you know, and I always told myself I would never do that, because you know it you know you just can't go anywhere for this kind of service. You have to go to a certain place and people expect it. They expect the service. That's why they go to a gun store, they go to a fishing store, they go to a car lot. You go there to get the information, and get what you need taken care of. you know and when there's not a lot going on, why not take the time to make a difference? Really, make it shine. You know, it just makes for a better day. It does. I got a tattoo on my arm. It's kind of hard to see there, but I've got to get it redone. But on the very top, it says "always helping,"
Right.
and '89 in the helmet is when I got hired.
Okay.
And then SCFDs is the fire department I worked for.
I was
And
a baby back then. I was a little baby back then.
but I see people have all these tattoos, but it's a lifestyle. You know,
Yes.
it is. It's helping people. It's making a difference. And am I trying to teach someone how to buy a car? No, that's not what you're here for. You know, I have people that come in and they say, "Hey, what is this?" It's called a gun. Like, okay, I want to buy it. I'm like, no, uh, you need to take a class first. Let's
Yeah.
learn about it. I said, come on in the classroom, and I'm going to show you this stuff. When they're like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Let me take the class first, then we'll go from there. I said, okay. And it makes me, I'm more relaxed when they leave because I haven't sold them anything that's going to get them in trouble or hurt someone or hurt themselves. You know, I have people come in and they're like, "Hey, I bought this gun." I'm like, "Who sold you that gun? I need to call them and say something to them." I'm like, "Why?" I said, "That's the wrong gun. That's not going to work." we took him to the range. They shot it, and which one round? They shot it one time, and they started crying. I said, you see, I said, just relax. It's not a big deal. We'll give it to the husband, and then we'll get you something else. And then he shot it. Like, boom, oh man, you're great. This is awesome. What did you buy? He said, I bought this. I said, okay, pull the slide back. I can't. Then why did you buy this? Well, he said the one that was good for me. I said, okay, well, we're going to trade this in and get the one that works best for you. Well, you have the wife's. We're going to take this one and we're going to trade this for something for her. Now, she's like bullseyeing all day long, and then he's having a lot of fun because he's tickled now. 30 special revolver, we adjust the trigger, and he's tickled pink. And then she's happy because, she can actually rack the slide. She can shoot it and not be fearful, you know. And, you got to do that because if you don't, you run into the problems that we have today. Everyone is fearful of firearms because they just don't know it. They just don't know how this stuff works. And all they hear about is the horror stories, that happen all the time. You don't hear about the good ones. You really don't. There's a gentleman, Coleon Noir. I forget how you spell it, but I watch his videos all the time. He put a video out today that a lady with a handgun just shot a guy that went into a crowd with an AR-15. That will never make the news. Why? Because it was it was complete opposite.
Doesn't fit their narrative.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. This lady with a handgun that had a concealed license, she saved all these people. 35 people. So this Texas thing, right? There were around 20 people killed, something like that, right? If I told you twice as many died, wouldn't you think that it'd make everyone even more upset? Right? It would really, people like, wow, what is going on? The week before, 40 people died over the weekend in Chicago.
Yep.
So
Over Memorial Day.
why is it that, this, but not this, is treated equally? And that's why I treat everyone the same. You don't know what a firearm is? You know what a firearm is? When you leave, everyone's going to end up the same way. Because that is the way we're supposed to get treated. That's the way you do things.
Yeah, another thing, like when you're talking about picking out the guns and things like that, that's part of what you do in the class. He has a host of guns. He has double stack. He has revolvers. He has them all laid out on the table, and he gets everybody up in a line, and everybody goes to a gun. You pick the gun up, feel it, play with it in your hand, load it, rack it, aim it, pull the trigger, see what the pressure is on the. And you do that with a host of guns. You go around and he lets you feel the gun out so you can get a concept of what it is that you're going to do.
And I always tell people, I say, you need to do this at home, with the snap caps because, it's a dummy round. It's not going to go off. If you don't have a firearm, guess what? Now you have 20 of them. You just got to come here and use them. You can't take them home, but you can come here and use as much as you want. Tuesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 5 o'clock. Come as often as you want, stay as long as you want, and just practice. Let it become muscle memory. Do it with your eyes closed. When you're like that, then you can consider, purchasing something.
All right, let's pause for the calls. We're going to hear a word from our sponsors. When we come back, we'll dive a little bit deeper.
Okay.
Degrees of separation, connecting to the source.
If you want to represent your faith with your fashion, go to gospelgains.com. If you want to show your salvation on your sleeve, gospelgains.com. GOSPELGAINS. Type in the word degrees at checkout. You'll get a 15% discount on your entire purchase. All right, and we're back, man. This is so much information that I love it, man, because As we were just speaking a few minutes prior about all the news narratives and these different this hot debate about guns and the laws around guns. First and foremost, what does it take? What's the steps to get your CCW?
So you have to take a class in Florida, anywhere in Florida, right? Preferably at Pro Firearms Academy.
Yes, sir.
Uh, um, right? It's a 1 day class, right? Once you completed the class, you will be issued a certificate. You take your certificate these days to the DMV because of some of the government agencies are still shut down from COVID. It's easier just to go to uh, your local DMV that does the concealed weapons license process for you. They will make a copy of your certificate, take your money, right? It's always money,
Yes.
$119. Uh, check your ID, use a fingerprint, take your picture, help it with the application, and they'll electronically send all of that to the Florida Department of Agriculture. It's taking between 10 and 14 days, but it can take up to 90 depending how busy it is. But they're getting pretty good at getting that stuff taken care of and getting it back to you. Then it is good for 7 years. Every 7 years you will have to renew it. You got to update the address every time you move. Because if you don't, you will not get the renewal. The license will expire and you're walking around without a license. You can't make a copy. You got to keep it within date, and you got to have the original. And like I said, it's a license. It allows you to carry almost any weapon under the statute.
All right. And so, with this hot debate, hot topic going on, Daryl, DJ, do you have any questions that you'd like to ask him?
Um, I wanted to. I want to know. What do you think that there could be any forms of like mitigation in between maybe because I hear people discussing they're making discussions concerning mental health and owning a firearm. Do you think that there could be maybe like let's say a mitigation in between that, like in between somebody who is deemed, I guess, mentally incapable of like getting a firearm? Because apparently they say that the process that we have now isn't enough.
Yeah. Well, the problem you run into is um, mental health is treated with medicine.
Hmm.
When they're taking the medicine, they're perfectly fine. They're perfectly fine. They can go in, purchase a firearm. Okay, if they have not been Baker acted or something along those lines, they could purchase a firearm. Once, and I've seen this hundreds of times. I'm like, I feel fine. I don't need to take the medicine anymore. I'm like, you're fine because you're taking the medicine.
Right.
They quit taking the medicine. Now they have this firearm in their hand. So it's really tough to get around that. Um, you know, because of how it, just the way it plays out. One day you're fine, you're taking the medicine, you just quit taking it for 5 days, and then you're relapsing, and then you're a hot mess. You um, when it comes to schools, um, there are not a lot of shootings in major city schools, and I found out that is because to get into the school probably harder than to go into
Yep.
a post office.
Yep.
I remember when I was graduating, they were setting up, the metal detectors.
Yep.
What is going on here? And um, is maybe that's something, we need to look into, doing something along those lines. It might make people a little more nervous, but uh, grown-ups walking around with hand firearms in schools is that is just mind-boggling to most people It's
Right.
just not on. That's not an option. So, maybe, having those in the entrances, you know, and you know, I remember having to get into some buildings with a burning fire. I'm like, holy mackerel, what kind of lock system they have here? If I can't get into it, I'm sure it's pretty easy to make
Right.
something where the average Joe couldn't get into. I mean, I'm showing up with 50 pounds worth of tools. And if I can't get in, this is a simple business, then why can't the school be like that? There's no
Right.
reason for it. And, it's like, I'm trying to bust his door, and the guy goes, why don't you just knock? And he pushes, like, it's, yeah, it's,
Yeah, it's tough because there's so many people that's making arguments against guns that don't have the information and the knowledge about the guns that they're trying to make, decisions about. I truly believe that it should just be a course that's required for us. Maybe we can have gun safety classes implemented into schools and jobs or wherever, to where people have to learn about these things. Since there's so many guns in America, that should be, it's in the fabric of America. That should be a type of requirement for every citizen to know about guns and safety. And because once you realize that this gun is safe, as long as someone who is safe handling it, what I mean, I think that would go a long ways just to inform people about the gun in the first place. Because so many people are making, I don't want to put a percentage on it, but so many people are making decisions and opinions about the gun when they don't have the first knowledge of a gun.
well, the big thing with those problems or issues are when it comes to budget, the first thing they want to get rid of is education,
Right.
training. They got rid of sex ed. They got rid of driver ed. These programs that were essential, back in the day, but I guess they don't think we need them anymore. But this is the end result of getting away from the simple basic stuff. I had a student, he did a hunter license, and he had to do some shooting. And I said, okay, you passed. Go ahead and sign here. And he says, I can't. I said, what do you mean? Oh, I got a pen. Here you go. He says, no, I don't know how to sign my name. I'm like, what are you
Wow.
talking about? This guy was like 18, 19 years old. And she's like, oh yeah, they quit teaching kids how to.
Curses.
I'm like, are you kidding me? I mean, that's the problem. We want, you can't do that. You can't. You got to go back to the basics. You got to.
Yeah.
You know,
You know what class I miss? I miss home ec.
yeah,
Everybody says that, bro. I
yeah.
never took it.
That's because you're a little younger. They probably had it out of school by the time you
But
came through.
I heard about it. Everybody was, they used to glorify it. Even I went to Miami Northwestern, and man, they loved that class. They were talking about cooking and, sewing, just anything, I guess, like life, I don't know, real life instances, I guess.
Right.
You
That's
said
how I
home
learned how to
ec.
cook eggs, man. Home ec. I took it in like seventh, eighth grade, man. That's how I learned how to cook eggs, man.
So I took it, and it helped me at the firehouse.
Okay.
You want a good meal? Come to the firehouse.
Yes, sir. Yeah, they moved shop class. Like this stuff was in when I was coming through high school in middle school in the late 90s, early 2000s. There was still shop. There was still home ec around. There was still these different classes. But I believe education is the catalyst to to information and to really to an opinion. You can't have an opinion if you're not educated about what your opinion is about.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Facts.
I remember my history teacher in high school. He said, "We're not going to talk about history. We're going to talk about taxes." I'm like, "What?" He taught us how to do our taxes,
Wow.
and I did my taxes for the longest time. Using TurboTax and stuff like that. And my wife's like, "Do you know what you're doing?" I'm like, "Yeah." I remember in school he taught me this. And I find that the younger you are, we allow anyone 11 years or older to take the
Wow.
class, and they are like sponges. It's amazing how easy and how quickly they pick this up. I mean, it's just mind boggling. Toward the end, I'm like, hey, do me a favor. I'm gonna work with your dad, okay? He's having a hard time, and they start laughing, and it's just the way, it's just how we are, genetically, and it's just how we are as humans. We grow up, we're sponges, and then as you get older, you start, forgetting things, but you know, there are things that need to be muscle memory, not, thought about. I need to recall, how this worked or that worked. This is one of those things that it's just you just do it.
Right. Right.
You can't think about how am I going to handle this thing. It's just going to happen. It's going to be good or it's going to be bad. And I always wanted to, the outcome to be fantastic.
Right. What? How many people do you can you fit in your class at a time?
Um, we can do up to 25. We average around 5 to 10 because we teach it so often. But we're doing about 80, 85 a month, 80, 85 students a month.
Okay. And how many? I don't know if you know, but how many repeat offenders, as you call them?
Yeah,
How
not
many?
as not as many as I'd like, um, but there's not a lot that at the end of the class, they're just like overwhelmed. There are some, and they do come back. And there have been some instances where I just want to give them their certificate. I'm like,
Wow.
I cannot give you the certificate. I just want you to come back. Remedial retraining. Did I fail? No, you hit the target. But
Right.
the process wasn't as smooth as I'd like it to have been. So just come back. We'll do it again. We'll take our time, and once you feel comfortable, then we'll go back to the range. And 9 out of 10 times they do, pass,
Right.
or they finish up.
Now, with the how many you mentioned earlier, pistol one.
Yes,
How many courses is it like that you could
there's
do?
pistol one, pistol two, and then you have long guns like shotguns, AR platform. The pistol two gets more in depth and you know um, uh, misfires and you know not eject, extracting the round. There's a lot more to it in pistol two.
Okay. Do you teach that as well?
Uh, actually, this coming Thursday, I am meeting uh, my main insurance carrier, and we're looking to make me become certified as a counselor. What that does, it allows me to teach people to teach the class.
Okay.
So it's going to advance. It's going to advance. Right now, we have the gun cleaning class. You know, learn how to clean your gun. If not, it will malfunction,
Right.
or you're going to have to pay someone every time to do it. You don't want to do that. We have the Try Before You Buy program. What that is, it's kind of like a gun rental. Right?
Okay.
Most places charge 25 a gun and about $20 for ammo. I just charge a flat $80 fee.
Mhm.
I will bring out the 7 different calibers that are out there that you can carry as a defensive firearm. It's about 12 different guns and all the ammo necessary. It's a flat $80 charge. Let's
Wow.
go shooting. Let's have some fun. Let's figure out the one that works the best.
And how like so you shoot let them shoot till they find that gun until they're comfortable and figure out.
Well, it works pretty quickly. Once you start picking up, it's like trying on a pair of shoes. You're like, this isn't working. Give me the 10 and a half, right? Instantly, this is not going to work. They're like, this is pretty good. Well, let's shoot it. Like, this is like shooting a pellet gun. All right, well, let's get something a little heavier. And then I'm going to get something really heavy, and then we're going to go back.
Right.
Let's take you out of your comfort zone, because if you're comfortable, you're going to get bored with it.
Right. Right.
Let's
Yeah.
get you something a little uncomfortable so you'll learn to adapt, and then you can get more bang for your buck. It's like buying a big house. I'm sleeping on milk crates, and 7 years later, we got a bunch of kids wandering around. We have cars in the driveway, right? We just adapt to it, right? We just, we learn to grow into it. You know, then we have the one-on-one, which is you and I with your firearm, on half a box of ammo. The intent is to make sure you can hit the bullseye at 5 yards. Okay, grip, stance, trigger, sight alignment, dominant eye, breathing, everything it takes about 45, 50 minutes for you to consistently hit that bullseye. I will videotape you, make the necessary corrections, and then you will get very comfortable in doing this. Then I will test you. 3 yards, 3 shots. Instead of 3 seconds, we'll do it with our eyes closed. Why?
Oh,
Because there's no looking, there's no thinking, you're just doing your thing. And you will have a nice grouping in the center mass. The same way you get in the car and the right foot goes to the gas pedal. It just happens. If you can hit this little dime-sized bullseye at 5 yards, this thing's on top of you and it's a lot bigger. Yeah, there's no looking, no thinking. You can't say, "Hey, can you kind of move over a little?" No, there you are. Okay. No, it's just you're going to do your thing and you won't hit the bullseye.
and so how do I sign up or get into those classes?
So for the gun safety class, we teach it Wednesday through Saturday. You can go to ccwclassnearme.com or just our website, profirearmsacademy.com. The bottom right corner, it's a register now. When you click that, it opens up the entire calendar. The days in bold are the days that are available. We have it set for 30 because some sign up and don't show up, so we end up having a decent amount. If there are 27 spots available, that tells me what? There's 3 people signed up. So there's usually a very small class. Um, then when you complete that class, I give you a business card, has all my contact information, the shop number, my email. It's tom at profirearmsacademy.com. My cell phone, 407 402 8044. You can call, text, and we will get you on the calendar for the cleaning class, the one-on-one, the try before you buy. And that's typically uh, Tuesdays, 1 hour increments. Tuesday is like a logistical day. We have packages come in, we inventory everything, and we teach those one-on-one classes. This way I can focus on the individual for the 1 hour versus having a bunch of people trying to do that one time. This way, because if I do it that way, they usually get it the first time.
Right.
Then
Right.
I tell them, listen, if something happens, you can't fix it, just bring it back, keep it in a box, bring it back, and we'll go over it again. Or if you want, the first time you want to do this, just do it here. Just come to the classroom on a Tuesday and let's do it together. I'll watch you, making sure make sure you don't make any mistakes, and then just confirm what you've learned the first time.
I know you have a partner. Uh, what's her name? And just
Uh,
talk about her.
yeah, Sue. Yeah, she's my office manager. She's awesome. Uh, she's not too knowledgeable on the guns. She knows a little bit about them. She's like, this is a gun. She's awesome. Everyone that comes in, they love the rapport we have there because it's very calm, very soothing. It's I've been to gun shops and it's like so military style and so rigid, and that just turns people off, especially the people that don't know this. It's very intimidating, you know, and she's just very soft spoken and, she's just very easy to get along with. And, if she doesn't have the answer, she's not going to lie. She's not going to make something up. She takes, she gets your name, your number, and we always get back to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. DJ, you got anything? I know you over there pondering, man.
Not so much, man. I mean,
Okay.
I don't know. I just,
It's a lot of
I'm
information.
really, I'm extremely interested in guns. I'm purchasing some, but man, I was in that group of people, man, where I brought my gun probably like a year before I actually went and took a class,
Yeah,
and I had,
Okay.
I
Yeah.
was, I was walking around with a Taurus, just, but I wasn't carrying it with me. I just kept it in my car and in my house. And then I was like, man, let me hurry up and take this class before I wind up having to use it and
yeah,
got to
yeah,
explain and
yeah, yeah. We're in partners with USCCA as well,
hmm
um, because once something happens, what's the next step? And
hmm
that is someone protecting you after you've protected yourself. And the reason we went with USCCA is because they do unlimited coverage in terms of price and duration. This thing takes 10 million. It costs 10 million. It takes 10 years. You pay $1 a day. Okay,
wow,
but the upside to what they do is the education. They take it beyond what I do.
Yes.
I
Yes.
take I teach you how to use a gun. I can't walk around with you and say, "All right, this is that instance. Okay, go ahead and say something. Let's see what happens. All right, that didn't work. Okay, let's go." No, you gotta get you gotta learn who to call, when to call, who not to call, what to say, what not to say, what
right,
happens through the entire process. And along with that, who's going to protect me and not cost me an arm and a leg? Who's not going to
right,
wipe out my 401k? Who's not going to wipe out, my second mortgage? You know, I don't qualify for public defender. Not everyone, qualifies for that. You got to be making next to nothing to do that.
yeah,
So who's left? There's nothing. There's just, you're stuck. Waiting on, you try to get family to help you. No, you can't do that. You can't. You gotta learn the entire process.
Hey, I partnered up with them, and they send you a big thick book of the laws, and that's
Yeah,
what I use for reading material in the bathroom, man.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yes,
ah,
sir.
absolutely.
Yeah,
The
they
guy,
got all the Florida laws. Yeah.
yeah, the guy that wrote that book helped write laws in Florida. He's the go-to guy.
Wow.
Yeah, he's the $100,000, $800 an hour guy. You know, yeah. I can't afford that, but I can
Me
pay him
neither.
$1 a day.
Yeah, I can do that.
There's
I can do that.
250,000 of us paying $1 a day. Yeah, he's
yeah,
getting paid. That's why he does what he does. He could do it, for free.
Right. And then they send you stuff in the mail, and they send you emails and newsletters, and so
Yeah,
that you're up on the laws and you're up on everything that you need to know.
yeah.
And
Especially when
then
you travel, you got to know when you travel. And you
yeah,
flip your card over. There's a non-emergency number. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna do this. Can I do this? They're like, they'll talk about it, and then they'll email you the conversation that you had. This way, you can
wow,
go back and read it. Yeah,
man,
yeah,
this is very informative to me. This is I like this. This is really nice. This
yeah.
you are
This is why we do what we do. It's just everyone needs to be teaching like this. It's nerve wracking that they're not. It's crazy.
yes, sir. Well, man, look, if you need any more information from Tom, just make sure you contact him. Make sure you get up with him. You know what I mean? This conversation can go on all day and all night, but we understand that Tom has things to do, and we have things to do. So drop your information one more time for them so they can know everything, anything, on your social
Yeah,
media, whatever.
yeah. It's profirearmsacademy.com is our website, or you can go to ccwclassnearme.com. We're also on Facebook, Pro Firearms Academy and Gunsmithing. You can like us there. We always post videos on there, information, events that we're doing, and sometimes we have class specials on there as well.
All right, DJ.
yeah. You can find me at Daryl DJ Sales at Instagram and Daryl Sales down there at the bottom. left on Facebook. Sorry, I'm going through technical difficulties, man. My truck ain't got no AC. I'm over here sweating. But man, it's still alright. I definitely enjoyed this. As a responsible gun owner, I plan on coming to see you.
Yes. See me. We'll get you hooked up.
Yes, sir. And always, man, you can find us degree separation on everything. That's DEGREEZ of separation on Facebook and Instagram. Degree separation, all one word for YouTube. You can find us if you want to donate, you want to be beneficial to us, financially. It's intellect $NTELLECT, the number one on Cash App. Man, just continue to just stay connected with us. And you know what I mean, follow us. We're always dropping a new episode every Wednesday. Again, we may be 1 or 2 degrees separated from each other, but when it comes to God, there should be 0 degrees of separation, and we're out.
Degrees of separation, connecting to the source.
Pause, bro.